Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a literal tectonic shift in the global manufacturing and supply chain world. We are seeing a pace of change right now that we haven't witnessed in Silicon Valley for well over 2 decades. Traditional legacy software, it is quite literally collapsing under the immense pressure of modern commerce. We are officially stepping out of the era of basic, simple e-commerce, and we are entering the dawn of what's called agentic commerce. Building a make-to-order AI backbone, well, it's no longer just some futuristic luxury for the big tech giants. It is an absolute, non-negotiable survival necessity. To really grasp the urgency here, we have to look back at a massive, frankly catastrophic warning sign. $2.1 billion. That was the staggering inventory write-off that Cisco had to swallow back in 2001 simply because they got their inventory positioning wrong. When demand sensing and your actual physical inventory aren't perfectly aligned, it isn't just a tiny little hit to your margins. No, it's a devastating, multi-billion-dollar blow to the bottom line.
Okay, let's dive into this. You might be thinking, well, come on, that was 2001. Surely things are way better now, right? But the crazy thing is, they really aren't. Even today, an astonishing 80% of supply chain planners are out there making critical million-dollar decisions based on manual Excel spreadsheets, outdated batch data, and honestly, just gut feelings. And even when these massive companies own huge software systems, they still somehow revert right back to these manual methods. The real-world result of these disconnected systems? Companies are losing at least 2% of their total revenue right off the top, every single year.
And that brings us to what we call the legacy planning trap. Why exactly is the status quo collapsing right in front of us? Well, traditional systems, think Coexists or SAP IBP, were built for a completely different era. They rely on really slow, rigid batch processing. That forces planners to wait days, sometimes literally weeks, just to see the impact of a sudden shift in demand. Then, on the other end of the spectrum, you have platforms like Palantir. Sure, they offer incredible advanced integration, but they come with staggering costs and require armies of consultants and multi-year deployments just to get off the ground. And Excel? It simply cannot scale to act in the real-time, 60-second windows that modern commerce demands. You don't need a rigid, dinosaur legacy system, and you certainly don't need a billion-dollar bespoke science project.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core philosophical battle going on right now. For decades, the absolute standard playbook has been make to stock. It's this margin-eroding nightmare where supply chain leaders try to forecast demand months in advance, overproduce just to avoid stockouts, and then have to discount aggressively just to clear out their stuffed warehouses. But look, the winners of tomorrow, they won't be the ones with the largest warehouses. The winners will absolutely be those who transition to a dynamic, real-time make-to-order ecosystem.
So, what exactly is agentic commerce? Let's define it. It is a massive operational shift that seamlessly connects the digital retail storefront directly to the factory floor using an advanced AI backbone. It takes live, real-time signals from the consumer and instantly translates them into actual manufacturing actions. This isn't just a fancy upgrade to your online shopping cart. Actually, scratch that. It's an entirely new operational paradigm that is exponentially larger and more impactful than traditional e-commerce ever was. The solution to actually getting there is something called Agent and Gemini Enterprise. It essentially operates as planning in a box. Now, the absolute beauty of this setup is that it doesn't force a painful, years-long rip and replace of your entire IT infrastructure. Nobody wants that. Instead, it uses a transparent glass box methodology. What that means is it acts as an intelligent overlay. It coexists perfectly with your current ERP, your warehouse management, and your transportation systems. Because it's a glass box, you can see exactly why the AI is making a specific recommendation. It keeps the whole process transparent, trustworthy, and incredibly agile.
To make this abstract AI backbone a little more tangible, let's look at what's actually powering it under the hood. It's not just one giant, confusing, monolithic algorithm. It's actually powered by over 100 specialized sub-agents. Think of these sub-agents as a highly coordinated, super-fast digital workforce. These agents work in absolute harmony to autonomously execute the entire supply chain lifecycle, from demand sensing and forecasting, all the way through to production scheduling, logistics, and, yes, even returns management.
When you put these incredible sub-agents to work, they execute what's called a lightning-fast 60-second planning loop. Picture this. A digital ad campaign suddenly goes viral on social media. Within seconds, the AI connects that top-of-funnel demand sensing signal directly to Step 2, which is available to promise, instantly checking if you actually have the stock to fulfill those clicks. Then, yield management kicks in, dynamically adjusting the factory floor to maximize output for those specific high-demand items.
Finally, returns management senses live return patterns and literally reroutes goods to high-demand regional hubs. And the crazy part? All of this happens instantly, in under a minute. So, the crucial point is this. When you completely collapse those massive silos across marketing, fulfillment, production, and reverse logistics, you unlock what I like to call the ultimate superpower: defect-free inventory positioning. By perfectly aligning demand, yield, and returns, this AI backbone ensures that the exact right product is sitting at the exact right regional hub the very second a consumer clicks buy. There's no more guessing, no more overstocking, just pure, real-time precision.
Now, if you're sitting there thinking this all sounds a bit like science fiction, let me assure you it is happening right now. Incredible brands are actively deploying this AI backbone today to protect their margins. In retail and apparel, you have giants like Levi's and Kohl's analyzing live digital card additions to position the exact fits customers want, which drastically reduces their markdowns. In heavy manufacturing, Lixil, the parent company of American Standard, is moving completely away from static 60-day forecasts. They are autonomously positioning bulky items, like toilets, so builders aren't just left waiting around. And over in semiconductors, Seagate is predicting complex tech returns to plan ahead. Honestly, if you manufacture anything at all, this applies directly to you. Because this massive shift to agentic commerce is an urgent 18-month ultimatum, you might naturally assume it takes years to build out. But the implementation is actually designed for incredible speed. Unlike those massive, painful legacy upgrades we talked about earlier, the path to value here is incredibly fast. You typically start with a 4-week pilot pivot, and that's followed by a 3-month production rollout at scale. But make no mistake, the clock is absolutely ticking. Companies have to evolve into this state within the next 18 months, or they seriously risk total irrelevance. The stakes for missing that 18-month window are, well, they're brutal. If you are stuck running a 30-day batch planning cycle on a legacy ERP, and your competitor down the street is running a 60-second planning loop that connects their web traffic directly to their manufacturing yield, you simply cannot compete. You just can't. Failing to transition means you are literally bleeding cash. Companies that delay this shift are going to lose 10% to 20% of their revenue to stockouts, massive markdowns, and ballooning customer acquisition costs. But amidst all this incredible, futuristic technology, we have to bring the narrative back to the human element. Because the reality is this: for all of this to actually work, you need AI-trained people. AI simply cannot run itself in a vacuum. Change management is actually the single most critical aspect of this entire journey. Organizations absolutely must empower their employees to become an agentic workforce, a team that is fully capable of guiding and prompting these AI systems effectively.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today in this explainer, from the crippling costs of those clunky legacy systems to the real-time, game-changing power of an AI-driven make-to-order backbone. Your supply chain is standing at a major crossroads right now. It is either a reactive cost center that's just bleeding cash, or it's a proactive make-to-order weapon. The technology to seamlessly connect your storefront directly to your factory floor is already here. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you going to start getting ready now, or are you going to keep guessing until it's just too late?